are back to work on the 2022 Ford Mustang Mach 1 Premium. And in today's video, we are gonna go over all the damages on the exterior and interior, and we're gonna see what parts we need to order for this beast. I'm super excited to be working on this car, guys. And I do wanna tell you guys something really crazy that I managed to figure out. We found the previous owner of this Mach 1. And guys, let me tell you, he is really sad after what happened to this car. But he's a super nice guy, and he sent me over a lot of photos and a lot of videos of what this car was and what it looked like at the accident site. But guys, not all of those clips and photos will make it into this video. So I did make an Instagram for the YouTube channel where there will be behind the scenes and sneak peeks and everything that doesn't make it into the videos on there on the Instagram account. So I'll leave that link down below. Feel free to go ahead and check that out, and please drop a follow if you do. But here we are, guys, with the Mach 1. So let's just go ahead and start off with what the owner told us about this car. So this car is a 1 of 2 spec in the country. That's right, guys, you heard correct. Only 2 of these Mach 1s are known to be in the country of this spec. So if you get a little bit closer to the paint color right here, if you look super closely, this is a purplish color right here. This color is like a sort of shifting type of color. It shifts in different lightings. It's sometimes black, sometimes dark blue, and sometimes purple. I didn't notice it before, but I noticed it now, and that is absolutely epic. I'm pretty sure that's gonna be a pretty penny when it comes to painting this thing. Yeah, guys, now let's just start, and we did. If you guys see this big red bag right here, if you remember from the first video, that bag was in the interior. Me and my brother did take that bag out so the interior didn't get damaged the longer it sat in there. So let's go over real quick on what we have in this bag. So none of these parts are usable, or some of them are, but we'll go over the ones that are usable. But we have the rear bumper here for this car. As you can see, it has some of the sick Mach 1 decals right here on the side. And then we also had the Mach 1 front bumper in the bag. This thing is pretty much useless. There's not a single part on this that is usable, but it is cool. We did just throw it on the car for fun. And then we had 4 things in that bag that were usable. Just some interior trims right here that I have right here on the hood, and then 2 floor mats. And these floor mats are really plush and super soft. If you can tell, they're pretty plush. All right, guys, so I did go ahead and take off the front bumper. So the car looks as just how it did when you guys saw it last time in the previous video. But now I'm gonna tell you guys the story behind this thing. So basically, the old owner of this car was doing some canyon driving, and as he was driving, he said that he may have hit a patch of gravel. The car flew off the side of the road, and it did a mid-air roll, and then it landed down into the ditch or below the mountain 20 feet, and it got stuck on, he said, 2 big rocks. And from what he was saying is if those 2 big rocks did not stop the car, it would have fallen another 400 feet down the mountain. It's pretty crazy that this car fell down deep in the mountain, basically 20 feet below the road, and they had to lift the car up out of the mountain with what he was saying is a rotator. It's a type of tow truck with like legs that kind of go out to support the truck, and they lift it up and they hoist it out of there. But it's pretty crazy, guys, with the backstory behind this car. No one expected this car to fall down a mountain, but that is what happened to it. And guys, after all of this stuff that has happened to this car, I'm very happy to say that the previous owner was okay during the accident. He only walked away with a scratch on his ankle, so I'm super happy that he was okay. But now we got the car here, and we can build it and make it better than ever. Let's go ahead. We're gonna start off with the damages in the rear right, and then we're gonna work our way around it, and then we're gonna get into the interior. So let's go ahead and start seeing what else is damaged, basically. All right, guys, so before we go ahead and start looking into the damages, we're actually gonna go ahead and unwrap this car like a big old Christmas gift. So let's just go ahead and start unwrapping this thing. Wow, look at that. Guys, this thing is pretty epic.
Dude.
Look at all that.
Paint.
Wow. This is gonna be a good one. Dude, look at that color, guys. Just insane. And surprisingly, it's not leaving too much residue, which I'm very happy about. check that out. This quarter panel is pretty much pristine. Alright, what else do we have? This side right here. Here, get in on this. I know you want to do some. Alright, guys. Well, I think, yeah.
Wow. Look at that paint. It's beautiful.
So crazy. Alright, guys, so the car's fully unwrapped now. Car looks a lot different with it unwrapped in the areas.
Dude, the reflection is so clean in it.
It's so clean. I cannot wait to actually wash this entire car and see how crazy it looks. And I can't wait to see it in the sunlight. But let's go ahead and jump right into our first area of damage, the suspension corner on the rear right. All right, guys, so starting off, we have this wheel and tire setup here. Previous owner also did some upgrades to this vehicle. We have beefier tires in the back. These cars with stock tires have 315s in the rear and 305s in the front. He upgraded them to 315s in the front, 325s in the rear. This is the tire and wheel setup here. It's pretty sick and it's a really beefy tire. But as you can see, this rim is it's toasted. This is the worst wheel on the car. The other ones are damaged as well, but this one's hit the worst. But moving this wheel out of the way, we have the suspension corner. So I have all this ratchet strapped up in the air right now so it's not hitting the ground and damaging anything. From the looks of it, what we have damaged in here is a lower control arm and another control arm right here in the bottom. So this is all just control arms that are damaged, and as well as the knuckle. So what I'm thinking what's gonna have to be replaced here is all that stuff and potentially maybe the strut or the shock. We won't know until we put the new parts in because right now they're kind of tweaked, and honestly, we might be better off replacing everything as one, but we'll just see in the future. All right, guys, then the next bit of damage is this quarter panel right here. This was actually caused by the rotator's tow truck's chains that were strapped into the suspension corner to lift the car from all four corners, and the chain just kind of hit this part of the quarter panel and put a lot of pressure and dented it. So that's pretty crazy, but this is fixable. I'm not too worried about that. Then moving down further along the side of the car, this door is in pristine condition. I don't think we're gonna have to do any body work on this, but we do have to repaint it. There's a lot of scratches on it, but the panel itself is good. Then going down further, this fender is toasted. We need a new fender. And then right here, getting a little bit lower. Oh, I completely even missed it. The rocker panel is nowhere to be seen. It got completely ripped off during the accident. No one knows where it went, but it's probably still down there in the canyon. But right here next up, we have the front suspension corner, and this is just absolutely battered. This suspension corner is destroyed. Pulling out this wheel right here.
Dang.
Yeah, look at that, guys.
Toasted.
I have never seen a suspension be this badly damaged. Look at the rotor, it completely separated from its other part.
The brake wire.
The brake line is completely cut in half, and look at the caliper, guys. The mounts are completely just ripped off. They're probably still on the hub. They're right here. They're just completely ripped it off. Everything here needs to be replaced, and just look at the strut, guys.
Strut got ripped.
The strut is cut in half, guys. This is absolutely insane. And turning this around, got two big old holes right here in the tire, and this rim is missing a big chunk right there, guys. This was not a very nice accident to be in. This was a very, very hard accident. I mean, just look at the damages, and we're not even halfway through the damages yet on the car, and they're already so bad. But let's just go ahead and continue going through the damages more. Let's roll this out of here. Yeah, that doesn't sound too good.
There's rocks in it.
All sorts of rocks and debris and stuff in there. Yeah. All right, guys, moving down into the wheel well. So this inner fender is gonna need to be replaced. Not too worried about that, but looking further into here in the suspension assembly, here's the other part of that brake line hose. We have some ABS line wires. This wire looks okay. Luckily, the wiring harness on this car, everything seems fine on it. Sway bar, Let me get the napkin. Sway bar looks good. The end links are completely gone. Look at, there's the other half of the strut just dangling up there. And here's the part of the knuckle here. And the only part that really survived on this side seems to be this control arm here, but I'm sure this needs to be replaced too. The bushings are probably leaking some sort of grease. And the tie rod is completely bent and destroyed. The subframe looks fine. I don't think the subframe will need to be replaced, but this car does have Magna-Ride suspension, so these are all sensors and stuff for that as well. All that stuff needs to be replaced. We need this entire assembly here to make the car drive right again. So moving to the front of the car now, opening up this hood right here, there's that beautiful V8 engine. And guys, in this engine right here, there's some pretty sick parts that Ford did install from factory on it. If you look closer right in here, it just says powered by Ford on the side of the engine on both sides. And you have this Mach 1 strut brace going from each strut tower, obviously. And this is the intake plenum that is shared with a GT350 right there. That's straight off a GT350. And same thing with the throttle body and a few other components in this car like the intake system, but this is upgraded. So it's pretty crazy the amount of stuff that this car shares from those other performance vehicles that Ford makes. And it's got a few mods as well on the engine. The previous owner installed an oil separator tank. This is a Ford performance part, all OEM. And if you guys are seeing this right here, this prop rod stick, it's not on. How's the hood staying up? That's because he also installed some Ford performance hood struts right there. Absolutely sick, guys. He really loved this thing, guys, and honestly I kind of do feel bad for him. But he did say, one thing he said is when this car is done, he would love to come down here and see it again. So that just tells me how much this car means to him. But right here, guys, in the engine bay, he did put an air raid intake system in here as well. So yeah, the air raid right there. So this is destroyed. We're gonna need to replace that. The intake tube is also destroyed. Mechanical engine wise, everything seems fine in the engine part of things. But moving on to the cooling system of the car, this is a transmission oil cooler. And just look at this thing. This thing is like twisted more than a Twix or something. I don't know. What's something that's twisted? A Twizzler. A tree. This is more twisted than Twizzler right here. So all the right there's a major hole right there. So that's where the transmission fluid left the system. So we're gonna need to replace that, as well as these brackets and everything. Moving down a little bit lower, you can see where the condenser and the radiators got hit, but they didn't get hit there as much as they got hit right here. They got completely just pushed down on. It's hard to see them in there, but maybe if we move some stuff out of the way, get a better look. So those things are completely destroyed. So need a new radiator, needs a new condenser. And then the main reason why we can't start the car right now is it needs a new oil cooler. It is still leaking a little bit of oil. There's not much oil left in the system, but this thing is torn at the bottom, so it does need a new one. And then right here, frame damage wise, we just need to replace this apron section up here. It just got pushed in. Everything else for the frame rails, beam, and everything seems fine. So that stuff is all okay. Fender needs to be replaced. This hood needs to be replaced, as well as the vents that are on the hood and the decals. This wheel is pretty much the only good wheel on the car. So we're definitely gonna have to order probably a set of 4 wheels, because I don't think you can find these wheels for a good deal individually. Then moving on to this side of the door, this door is also in pristine condition, but it does need a repaint. Rocker panel is in pristine condition as well. It does not need a repaint, but we're gonna repaint it anyways because this whole car is basically going to be getting repainted. All right, guys, now moving on to the left rear of the car, we have this quarter panel, and I've never done a quarter panel replacement ever on a car, so I'm pretty excited to see how it is and how it all goes. But I'm no Albert Einstein, but I'm pretty sure this is a pretty damaged quarter panel. This is not something that is minor damage on a quarter panel. But if we take a look at it, this is the side, like I said, this car did fly off the side of the road and landed on a bunch of rocks. So this is probably where one of the rocks have hit the car. So this is sunken pretty far. You can see the exhaust muffler right here, and a part of the floor, I think, this is part of the floor. And then this is the rear body pan right here. We're probably gonna have to replace this part of the floor. And then the rear body pan is not too badly damaged, so this might be able to be saved. And then obviously quarter panel has to be replaced. Gas cap looks fine though, so pretty excited about that. So that's all the damages right here on the back. There's probably some more stuff internally damaged there. I'm not too sure about it yet. But then moving on to the back, the rear bumper is gone. This diffuser So this diffuser, fun fact, is actually straight off of a GT500. This car shares a lot of parts from the GT500 and the GT350. So this is from a GT500, and if you look down in there, there is a cooler. Luckily, that cooler is not damaged. So that is for the rear differential fluid. And then there's just some brackets here and tail lights that need to be fixed. The trunk just has a little tiny nick right here, easily repairable. There's some scratches here on this piece. We'll probably have to replace this because of that. The rear rebar looks pretty good. It just has a little bit of damage right there, but it's nothing too major. And then right here, the exhaust tips did get hit right here. So I'm thinking either we replace just this part of the exhaust back, or if I can just get the exhaust tips, we can re-weld some new ones, but we'll see. And speaking of the exhaust, the previous owner did install a Corsa H-pipe exhaust right there, so I'm pretty excited for when we get to start up this car. It's gonna sound super amazing when we do. He also did install Steeda jacking rails right over here under the car. This is pretty cool because I believe the side skirt or the rocker panel actually does cover some of the pinch weld, so you don't get to use all of it. So this is really nice, and this will help a lot during the rebuild. So he has them on both sides, so that's another mod he put. But now guys, that's basically everything on the exterior of the car. Obviously in the next video, I'm super excited for the next video. We're gonna get to do a teardown on this car, so we're probably gonna find some more hidden damages, but we'll see. But for now, we're just looking over the entire car and getting a better understanding of what it is that we're working on. But now let's go ahead and move on to the interior. All right guys, now moving on into the interior of this car. All the airbags pretty much blew in here. Both seat airbags are blown, so we're gonna have to replace the airbags and have to get these seats stitched up again. This is a very, very nice interior, guys. Like this, the leather is just super soft in here. This car is also a numbered car, 1983rd one to roll off the assembly line, and N stands for the model year, which for this car is 2022. So that is just pretty crazy that you have basically a numbered car here. And then right here we have the current airbags blown as well. We have the steering wheel airbag blown, the other seat airbag, and the other current airbag, and the driver knee airbag. The previous owner was the only one in the car during the accident, so this seatbelt is okay. It is just the driver's side one that is locked up. Looking away from the damages in the interior and all the airbags, we do have just some pretty crazy stuff to look at. So right here you do have this sick Mach 1 sill plate right here, and we will show you guys a little bit later in the video, but this actually does light up and you can change the colors on that. And then right here on the seat, you have this white striping that goes across. This is the same white striping that matches the decals on the car. All right guys, so we just gave power to the car, and right here is the key for this car. It has a sick Mach 1 logo on it. So put this in the cup holder facing up, because for some reason the key is not working just wirelessly. You have to put on the transmitter. But here we are, we're gonna power the car up and take a look at the info. Look at that guys, the Mach 1 just comes right there on the dash, and this is a digital dash as well. This car is pretty crazy. And then there's a few codes as well on the dashboard that we're just gonna clear out of the way. But take a look at this interior guys, this thing is amazing, and this car is equipped with basically every single option that you can get it with, except for the Recaro seats. And I actually do like these seats a lot better just because of how comfortable they are, and you got the heated and cooled stuff in them, as well as this white striping. I like these seats a lot better. And you can't forget, this is only 2 in the country made like this, so it's pretty amazing. But you do have all these buttons and all these sick toggles. It's like an airplane in here. It's pretty crazy. And the car's just flashing the engine start button. It's like, please start me, but I can't do it right now. It's for its own good. But if we look over here into the infotainment, into the odometer, all you have to do is click this Mustang button, and you get all of these sick choices of stuff that you can do. For instance, I can change the gauge setup. If I go to track, it's going to completely change the look of the gauge system right here. Look at that guys, that is insane. And then over here into my color, if I go to the ambient light color and I change that to, let's say, let's do this. So look at that guys, that thing lights up right there. If I change that to blue, look at that guys, it just changes colors right there, as well as all these other ambient lightings here. And right in this car guys, we also have it equipped with the Bang & Olufsen sound system. But yeah guys, that basically does it for everything in the interior. We won't find out more until we start taking this car apart. So let's go ahead, give you guys some updates on a few of the other builds, and then we'll wrap up today's video. All right guys, so that is going to be all for the Mach 1. I'm super excited to get to work on this car. But speaking of getting to work on this car, you guys do know that we have another build right here, which is my dad's Cadillac CT5. that we were rebuilding for him, and we did order all the parts, and a lot of them did show up. But in about 2 weeks or so, the rest of the parts should be here, and then we can go all hands on deck on this car and get it fully completed. But we do have another brand new build for the channel, guys. I did not quite reveal it to you guys, but we did pick this car up about 3 or 4 months ago, and it's right over there, a 2022 Ford Explorer XLT. Now guys, I'm not too sure what to do with this car right here. The damage on it is very, very light. So I really want to jump on the Mach 1 build and get that thing going. But we've had this car for so long, I think we're gonna have to work on this one before we can get to that one. The damage is super light, so I think these videos might come out first. And this car will be done a lot quicker than these cars because the damage is super light. It's just body panels and some airbags. And guys, there's a lot more features and options and cool stuff on this car that we didn't get to go over in this video, but we will get to see all those features as the build goes on. And guys, he really loved this car. He told me that he hand washed it every single Saturday. He never took it through an automated car wash, and that's just amazing. That's why the paint is so pristine. And he did tell me that his ultimate goal with this car was to get a 3-liter Whipple supercharger on it and a GT350 brake conversion kit on it. And let's just say I might do some of those mods in the future. One thing I did want to say, guys, is I know that some of you guys don't like it when we are jumping around from build to build, but it's just what we gotta do, because think about it this way: if we only had one build, then we wouldn't have a new video for weeks at a time. With having so many builds, we keep creating new content and have stuff on the channel, and it works out better this way. But that is gonna be all for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for watching today's video. And guys, don't forget to check out the brand new Instagram account for behind the scenes content and stuff that doesn't make it in the videos. I just threw together a bunch of videos and stuff into that account, and we're gonna put in some more videos as time goes on. And if you guys are liking this Mach 1 build, be sure to go down below and hit that like button while you're at it. There's a shiny red subscribe button that you should click. But that is all for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.